The path to extraordinary results starts with a simple, powerful habit that you choose to follow every day. One habit, done every day, can turn your dreams into a reality faster than you ever thought possible. Success isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most with relentless consistency. What if there was one simple habit you could adopt today that could instantly 10x your results? What if you could unlock the potential to achieve more than you ever thought possible, starting right now? Imagine waking up every day knowing that you have the power to make massive progress, no matter how challenging things get. What if the key to achieving your goals faster and more efficiently was right under your nose, but you just weren't seeing it? What if the success you've been working for wasn't as far away as you think? What if it's just a shift in your routine away? This isn't about working harder or being smarter. It's about focusing on the right habit that will change everything for you. It's time to stop making excuses and start seeing results. Now let's dive in. Number 1. Start doing the hardest task first every morning. Most people wake up and drift into their day. They check their phone, they scroll, they react to messages. They waste the first hour, the most powerful hour, doing things that move nothing forward. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. They wonder why they're always behind. They wonder why things don't change, even though they say they want success. But the truth is, success is not about big dramatic moments. It's about doing what needs to be done when it's hardest to do it. You want to change your results fast? You want to multiply what you get out of life? Then change what you do with your first hour. You take that first hour and you use it to do the hardest task, the thing you've been avoiding, the one that makes you uncomfortable, the one that requires energy and full focus, that task that matters most to your future, your growth, your results. That's the one you do first, not second, not later, not when you feel like it. First. Why? Because the first hour of your day is the hour that defines your discipline. It's where your mental sharpness is highest. Your energy is not yet drained, and most importantly, your mind hasn't been pulled in 20 directions. That first hour is yours. Use it with power. Use it with purpose. Use it to build your future. When you do the hardest task first, you take control. You don't wait to feel motivated. You build your own momentum. You stop living on emotion and start living on decision. Most people avoid what's hard and easy their way into regret. But you do the hard thing first, and you start your day as a builder, not a drifter. You start your day by stepping toward the person you're trying to become. There's something that happens when you get the hardest thing done first. It builds something inside you. Confidence, certainty, strength. You stop thinking, "Can I do this?" And you start saying, "I did this." That's not small. That changes the way you walk into every room. It changes the way you handle people. It changes how you think of yourself. When you've already done the hardest thing, every other task feels smaller. You don't shrink from the rest of the day. You walk through it with power. The hardest task is often the one that grows you the most. That's why it feels heavy. That's why you avoid it. That's why it nags at you. Because it matters. If you ignore it, it drains your energy. It sits in your head. It follows you all day like a weight. But when you do it first, you free your mind. You free your energy. You unlock clarity and strength. Most people spend all day trying to avoid one thing. You flip that. You face it. And when you do, the rest of the day becomes easier. Not because it changed, but because you changed. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's not about never feeling tired or afraid. It's about deciding what matters most and doing it when it's hardest. Every morning you are given that chance. The alarm rings and you're given a choice. Stay soft or step forward. Drift or decide. Avoid or attack. That choice doesn't just shape your day. It shapes your identity. You don't rise by doing easy things. You rise by doing what others won't. You rise by training yourself to do what is uncomfortable until it becomes normal. That's the habit. That's the foundation. That's the structure you build everything else on. You're not waiting for the world to push you. You're pushing yourself. People ask, How do I get motivated? You get disciplined. You don't wait to feel like it. You start moving. You build the muscle of execution. Every time you do the hardest task first, you build that muscle. You build focus. You build commitment. You build resilience. That's what makes you different. That's what takes your results from average to exceptional. Not because you worked more hours, not because you got lucky, but because you did what mattered most when others looked for distractions. If you want to change your life, change your mornings. Take the first hour and protect it. No phone, no noise, no confusion. Just the work that counts. The work that demands effort. The work that stretches you. That might mean sitting down to write, making a call you've been avoiding, tackling a problem you don't yet know how to solve. It's the kind of work that doesn't feel easy, but feels right when it's done. You can lie to others, but you can't lie to yourself. You know when you've been avoiding something. You know what the real task is. You know where the resistance lives. That's the direction you go. Not away from it, toward it. You face it head on. You don't need to fix your whole life in one day. You just need to show up and do what matters most. And you do it first. Don't wait until the end of the day to give your best. Don't leave the most important thing for when you're tired and distracted. Give it your full strength. Give it your full presence. You have more in you than you've been using. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start doing what you've been avoiding. Do it first. Do it now. Do it daily. Every time you do this, you get better. You get faster. You get clearer. Not just at the task, but at being the person who no longer negotiates with weakness. You become the kind of person who gets things done. That's the kind of person who builds trust with themselves. And once you trust yourself to follow through, there's nothing you can't do. You stop second guessing. You stop delaying. You start moving faster, with more purpose, more fire, more power. This is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters, first, with strength, with courage, with clarity. Most people wake up and waste the best part of their day. They drift into distraction. They scroll through nothing. They start with what's easy and stay there. You start with what's hard and rise from there. That's how you separate. That's how you grow. That's how you win. And if you do this for one day, you'll feel the shift. If you do it for a week, you'll feel stronger. But if you make it a habit, if you make it the standard, you will transform your life. One day at a time. One morning at a time. One decision at a time. Start doing the hardest task first, every morning, and you will 10x your results. Not eventually, but instantly. Because when you take control of the start, you take control of everything. Number 2. Force yourself to take massive action without delay. The difference between people who dream and people who change their lives is action. Not small scattered effort, not thinking about it, not preparing forever, but massive action taken right now. That is the habit that creates change fast. That is the habit that pulls you out of doubt and into results. You don't wait for motivation. You don't wait for clarity. You don't wait for the timing to feel perfect. You move now. You start now. You push forward now. And you keep going until it's done. People spend years waiting to feel ready, waiting to get permission, waiting for the fear to disappear. But fear doesn't disappear. Doubt doesn't go away on its own. Confidence is not something you find before you start. It's something you earn by taking bold steps. You train your mind to believe in you by showing it that you move, that you act, that you don't hesitate. When you do that enough, your brain starts trusting you. It sees you don't back down. That's where power starts to build. Taking massive action is not about being reckless. It's about being fully committed. It's about stepping into the moment with full force. It's choosing not to half try. It's putting your energy where your goals are. It's showing up with intensity. When you move like that, you break patterns. You wake up parts of yourself that have been quiet for too long. You stop overthinking. You stop second guessing. You stop living on pause. You create movement, and movement changes everything. You have goals right now that are waiting on you, not on information, not on the economy, not on approval, just on you. And the longer you wait, the heavier they get. They don't disappear. They don't solve themselves. They sit in your mind and drain you. But when you act on them with force, everything starts to shift. You feel alive. You feel in control. You feel your own potential rising because you're finally using it. Massive action doesn't mean perfect action. It doesn't mean you know every step. It means you go anyway. You try. You build while moving. You learn while doing. Most people want guarantees before they begin. They want certainty. But all growth is uncertain at the start. Every breakthrough begins with the courage to act in the face of not knowing. That's the power you develop when you stop delaying and start doing. You have to stop playing small with your effort. Half effort leads to half results. Quarter effort leads to frustration. Massive action is uncomfortable at first. It requires energy. It demands that you stretch. But it gives you something in return that nothing else can. It gives you progress. It gives you pride. It gives you momentum. It's not easy, but it's real. And that real effort compounds fast. Every day you hit it hard, you move faster than the person who is still thinking. Every great achievement is built on a series of actions taken without waiting for the perfect conditions. The people who make things happen don't always feel ready. They don't always know how it will work. But they take the next step with power. And then the next. And then the next. That's how they build. That's how they create. That's how they change. They're not sitting on ideas. They're living in execution. And when you train yourself to live that way, your life transforms from theory into proof. It takes strength to force yourself into massive action. It takes grit. It takes decision. But once you taste the momentum that comes from it, you never want to go back. You begin to crave results. You begin to enjoy the push. You stop needing motivation because you've become a person of action. You don't talk about it. You don't just dream about it. You act on it. Again and again. That habit becomes your identity. And that identity drives your success. You want to 10x your results. Then 10x your effort. Push past your comfort. Wake up with urgency. Get into the habit of doing what needs to be done now. The longer you delay, the harder it gets. The more time you waste, the more energy you lose. You build energy by using it. You create motivation by acting before you feel it. You make progress by attacking your goal like it matters. Because it does. There is a power inside you that grows when you push. You don't find it in silence. You don't find it while waiting. You find it when you force yourself to move forward. That power gets stronger every time you choose action over hesitation. Every time you choose work over wishing. Every time you choose now over later. You're building the version of you that wins. Not in theory. In reality. Stop over-planning. Stop thinking your way into circles. Choose a direction and go. Adjust as you learn. Correct as you grow. But start now. Right where you are. Use what you have. Give it everything. There's no benefit in delay. There's no reward in waiting. Nothing valuable is handed to people who pause. It's given to those who prove they will act with urgency and courage. You want to be trusted with more? Then do more. Right now. Not someday. Now most people are addicted to hesitation. They get ready to get ready. They wait for a feeling that never comes. They listen to fear and stay stuck. But you break that pattern by doing what they won't. You stop the cycle by getting in motion. That one decision to act now and act big shifts the entire direction of your life. You gain clarity by engaging. You gain experience by trying. You gain strength by doing. And you gain results by refusing to wait. Nothing you want is going to happen without effort. But the effort you give today sets up everything for tomorrow. You don't need to see the finish line. You just need to take the next powerful step. And then another. Stack the action. Stack the hours. Stack the work. Your future is built through repetition of forceful movement. Not passive interest. Not soft wishing. But real action taken again and again and again. Decide now that you will no longer wait for the perfect moment. It's not coming. You are the moment. Your movement is the trigger. Your intensity is the spark. You don't need motivation. You need a standard. The standard that says you move. You build, you create. No delay. No excuse. No stall. That standard will change you. That standard will elevate you. That standard will separate you from the rest. Force yourself into action even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Push your body when it's tired. Push your mind when it resists. That push is how you grow. That push is how you take control of your life. You're not here to stay comfortable. You're here to become powerful. That power only comes through effort. Massive, consistent daily effort. That starts now. You don't rise by waiting. You rise by doing. And you do it with speed. With boldness. With fire. That fire comes from inside. When you no longer allow delay to lead your life. You decide what matters. And you pursue it with force. Not next week. Not when you feel more prepared. Now, right now. That's where the change begins. That's where the progress starts. That's how you 10x your results. Instantly, not by wishing for better conditions, but by creating better outcomes through relentless forward action. Number 3, practice full focus on one task until it's done. We live in a world that rewards distraction, notifications, noise, interruptions, side conversations, constant scrolling everywhere you turn. Something is pulling for your attention, and most people fall for it. They start something, then stop. Open a task, then leave it half finished. They move from one thing to the next without completing anything. That's not how you build results. That's how you stay stuck. That's how you stay busy without ever getting ahead. If you want to multiply your progress, you must train yourself to do something most people never do. Focus fully on one task and stay with it until it's done. Your energy is limited, your time is limited, and if you split that focus across multiple things, you weaken your power, you reduce your speed, you lose your edge. One powerful session of deep, undistracted work can accomplish more than a whole day of scattered effort. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters, with full intensity and zero pull in any other direction. That kind of focus takes practice. It takes discipline, but once you build it, it becomes a weapon that sets you apart in everything you do. Think about the last time you really completed something important. Not just touched it, not just started it, finished it, all the way. You felt something different. You felt strong. You felt clear. You felt proud. That's what real focus gives you. A clear mind. A sense of accomplishment. A growing belief in your own ability. Every time you finish something with full focus, you build confidence. Every time you leave something half done, you build frustration. That choice adds up every day. Full focus means no checking messages. No hopping between tabs. No splitting attention. It means choosing one task and locking into it. Your phone is off. Your space is clear. Your mind is set. You're not letting thoughts pull you in different directions. You are right here. You are present. You are locked in. That presence is rare, and it is powerful. Most people live in mental noise. You train yourself to live in precision. When you lock in on one task, your mind sharpens. Your creativity rises. Your speed increases. You start noticing things you missed before. You become more effective because your thoughts are not scattered. They're not jumping from one thing to another. You've simplified your work, and in that simplicity there's power. You start knocking things down, one by one, not with stress, not with panic, but with strength and clarity. One of the biggest killers of progress is task switching. You think you're being productive because you're busy, but busy is not effective. Busy is often just avoidance. Real power is when you simplify your work and finish what matters. The brain performs better when it's focused on one objective. You enter a state of rhythm. You start solving problems faster. You feel in control. You work deeper. You move smarter. And that one change, focusing fully until something is done, can take you further in 1 week than scattered effort could in a month. Start training your brain to finish. Even if it's not perfect. Even if it's uncomfortable. Even if it's longer than you expected. You stay with it. You stay in the work until it's closed. That practice builds mental toughness. It builds the habit of follow-through. You stop leaving loose ends. You stop jumping between tasks hoping to feel productive. You become intentional, deliberate, precise. That's how results start compounding. There's a real emotional payoff to finishing something. A task that's done doesn't drain you anymore. It doesn't sit in the back of your mind, taking up space. When something is unfinished, it nags at you. It clutters your focus. It weakens your attention. But when it's done, it's gone. Your mind feels clearer. Your direction feels stronger. Your next move becomes obvious. That's the quiet power of focus. Clarity. People often say they have too much to do. But the truth is, they just don't focus long enough to finish anything. A task that should take 30 minutes ends up stretched into 3 hours because it keeps getting interrupted. Break that habit. You want real change. Start and finish something in one sitting. No pause, no switch, no excuse. Just full focus, straight through. That kind of action will shock you. You'll see how much more you can do in less time with more intensity. Focus isn't just about the task. It's about the mindset. It's about deciding that what you're working on is worth your full attention, that it deserves all of you, that it's not just another thing on a list. It's a step forward in your growth. And when you treat it like that, you show up with more energy. You care more. You give better effort. That mindset creates better outcomes because you're not halfway in. You're all in. You don't need a dozen things started. You need one thing done. One clear win. One finished step. One completed mission. That's what builds momentum. That's what builds pride. That's what teaches you to respect your own time. You're not here to entertain your distractions. You're here to develop your discipline. Every time you sit down and decide to focus on one task and finish it, you're telling yourself, I value this work. I value my word. I finish what I start. Stop trying to do everything at once. Pick one thing. Give it all your energy. And don't move until it's done. That practice will change the way you work. It will raise your standard. You'll stop tolerating unfinished effort. You'll stop living in half-done days. You'll start owning your time and your attention. That shift will affect everything. Your career, your relationships, your confidence, your peace of mind. It's not easy to hold your attention when everything is trying to steal it, but that's why it matters. That's why it works. The people who rise to the top in any field are the ones who master their focus. They don't chase distractions. They eliminate them. They don't do everything. They do what matters. And they finish it. That's the habit you build when you practice full focus every single day. You start small. One task, one window of time, one deep session, and then you do it again tomorrow, and again the next day, until your mind stops wandering, until your thoughts get stronger, until you don't feel right unless you're finishing. That's when the habit becomes natural. That's when the power of focus becomes a part of who you are. No more jumping from screen to screen. No more living in reaction. No more false productivity. You take your mind and you point it like a laser. You stay in the work. You finish what you begin. You take back control. One task at a time. One win at a time. One result at a time. That's how you rise. That's how you get more done in less time. That's how you 10x your results. Not by doing more, but by focusing more. Number 4. Show up daily, even when you feel no motivation. The real difference between those who make progress and those who stay stuck is not talent or intelligence. It's not resources or connections. It's not even passion. It's consistency. It's the ability to show up even when the feeling isn't there. That's where discipline lives. That's where results are made, not in bursts of excitement, but in steady effort repeated over time. It's easy to work when you feel inspired. It's easy to act when energy is high, but that's not when character is built. Your true strength is revealed on the days when you feel flat, when your emotions are low, when you'd rather skip it, and you show up anyway. Progress doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Growth doesn't depend on your mood. It depends on what you do. When you tie your effort to how you feel, you make your life unstable. You start to treat emotions as the driver instead of discipline. That's why people start strong and fade fast. Because the moment the feeling fades, so does the effort. If you want to go far, you must build the habit of moving forward without needing to feel perfect. You need a reason bigger than comfort. You need a decision that doesn't change when your energy drops. The truth is, most of the breakthroughs you want are on the other side of ordinary days, days where nothing feels exciting, days where the grind feels heavier, days where no one's watching. Those are the moments that shape you. Because when you keep showing up under those conditions, you start becoming someone different. You start developing a level of trust in yourself, not because you always feel good, but because you do what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. That's what separates the serious from the casual. That's what builds a foundation that lasts. Every time you show up without motivation, you strengthen the habit. It becomes part of who you are. You stop needing to feel ready. You stop needing external push. You begin to operate from commitment, not emotion. That's how winners operate. They don't ask, "Do I feel like it today?" They ask, "What needs to be done today?" And they do it. That mindset doesn't just build results, it builds freedom. Because now you're not controlled by mood swings. You're not held hostage by emotional ups and downs. You're steady. You're reliable. You're moving, no matter what. There are going to be mornings when you wake up tired, days when your mind feels heavy, moments when doubt creeps in. It will whisper that it doesn't matter, that you can push it to tomorrow. That one missed day won't hurt. That's the trap. That's how momentum dies, one skipped day at a time. But when you show up anyway, even at 60%, even when you'd rather wait, you keep your momentum alive, and momentum is everything. When you stay in motion, results compound. You may not see them instantly, but they build quietly, daily, steadily, and one day they explode. That's what discipline gives you. Not speed, but consistency. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing something regularly. Even a small step counts. Even a weak session matters. Because it's not about how strong you felt. It's about the fact that you refuse to sit still. That attitude builds toughness, and the tougher you become, the more unshakable your habits get. That's what transforms your life. Not flashy moments, but simple choices repeated without fail. Every time you show up without motivation, you prove to yourself that you're not dependent on feelings, that your drive is not a temporary spark, that your vision matters more than your mood. Most people wait for motivation, and while they wait, time passes. Opportunities slip, habits weaken. But those who rise early, move through resistance, and show up when nothing pushes them from outside, they build something unbreakable. They earn their success one quiet day at a time. You don't need to feel excited to move. You need to move to create energy. Action creates momentum. Even on your lowest days, a little effort lifts your mind. A few minutes of disciplined action can shift your state. But you have to take the step. You have to break the silence. You have to lean into discomfort and trust that the work will carry you forward. That's not just practical. It's powerful. It's what makes the difference between potential and progress. Start training your mind to stop negotiating with excuses. Stop giving feelings the final say. You're not here to wait for ideal conditions. You're here to take command of your time. You're here to build something. And anything worth building takes effort. Especially when it's hard. That's when it matters most. Because every time you show up on those days, you send yourself a message. I'm here, I'm not quitting. That belief compounds, it turns into confidence. And confidence turns into performance. Some people wake up and ask themselves, do I have the motivation today? Others wake up and say, it's time to go. That second group moves faster. They don't waste energy wondering if they're ready. They've already decided. Their action isn't a question. It's a habit. That mindset changes the way they work. They stop looking for permission. They stop needing ideal moods. They move forward, daily, like clockwork. That rhythm creates results. Quietly, steadily, relentlessly. You must understand that greatness is built in silence, not in applause, not in hype, but in the quiet discipline of daily action. Most of the work that changes your life is invisible to the world. It happens in your room, in your routines, in your early mornings, in the late nights when no one is watching. And when you show up in those moments, when you do the work even when you're not praised, even when it doesn't feel glamorous, you become dangerous. You become capable of doing what others can't. This is not about hustle culture. This is not about burning out. This is about choosing responsibility over comfort, choosing direction over distraction, choosing action over hesitation. When you operate from that place, your life starts aligning, your priorities become clear, your progress becomes visible, and your identity begins to shift, not to someone who tries, but to someone who delivers. Keep showing up, even when it's dull, even when it's lonely, even when no one claps, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Keep showing up. That consistency will rewrite your story. That quiet discipline will build your edge. Not overnight, but over time. You won't just look different. You'll feel different. Stronger, clearer, steadier. And that version of you will be unstoppable. Number 5. Work with urgency like your future depends on it. If you want to create real change in your life, you cannot move slow. You must train yourself to act with urgency. Not panic, not chaos, but urgency. A focused energy that says, this matters, and I won't waste another minute. Most people lose their edge, not because they don't have the talent, but because they move through life like they have forever, like they've got time to burn. But the truth is, the clock is always ticking, and every hour you delay is an hour you won't get back. When you understand that, it wakes you up. It forces you to treat your time as a serious investment, not something to casually spend. Urgency makes you move with purpose. It sharpens your mind. It gets you to stop postponing your goals and start owning them. You must treat your work like your future depends on it, because it does. The career you want, the freedom you seek, the health you desire, it all depends on what you do now, not later. If you wait for the perfect moment, you'll still be waiting 5 years from now. Life rewards action. It rewards speed. It rewards those who are willing to lean in and give their best while others are still thinking about it. When you hesitate, you give your dreams room to fade. But when you act fast, you give them oxygen. You keep them alive. You build momentum. You don't get a second life to finally get serious. You don't get a bonus decade to make up for the years you wasted. All you get is this one shot. And if you want to make it count, you need to move now, not next month, not when motivation hits, not when the pressure rises. Now, urgency is not just about going faster, it's about going with intent. It's waking up each day with the mindset that what you do today matters more than how you feel about it. It's building your legacy through the simple act of not wasting time. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They work with urgency. They don't delay decisions. They don't stretch small tasks across large amounts of time. They move, they push, they stay in motion, because they know that time doesn't wait. And if you move slow, the opportunity slips past. You've got to match your actions to your ambition. You say you want more, then prove it by acting faster, by stopping the endless planning and starting the doing. That shift alone will change your life. Don't just set goals, pursue them like your life depends on it. Because when you do, something changes in you. You stop tolerating distractions. You stop saying yes to things that don't move you forward. You stop being casual with your time. You begin treating every hour as precious, because it is. You begin scheduling your day around progress, not comfort. That's when breakthroughs happen. That's when new doors open. That's when you start creating results others call impossible. Start replacing waiting with action. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You need to begin to get better. You need to take that first uncomfortable step, and then the next one. You will learn along the way. You will adapt, but only if you move. Don't let fear slow you. Don't let doubt stall your progress. Move anyway. Urgency doesn't ask if you're ready. It tells you to go, because your future can't afford your hesitation. Your goals can't survive your delay. Either you take the lead in your life, or your time will get filled with things that don't matter. People often ask, What's the one thing that can change everything? It's not motivation. It's not more information. It's urgency. It's the decision to stop living like time is unlimited and start acting like today is your opportunity to rise. That kind of urgency rewires how you show up. You stop dragging through your tasks. You stop saying I'll get to it later. You become someone who finishes, someone who executes, someone who delivers. That shift is what turns potential into progress. If you keep waiting to feel ready, you'll never begin. Urgency throws that out the window. It says ready or not, you go now. Because it's in motion that you find your edge. You build your energy by stepping forward, not standing still. Too many people are stuck in research mode, in perfectionism, in overthinking. But the only way to improve your future is to act in the present. The only way to gain clarity is to take steps forward, not to stand on the sidelines, not to wait for the stars to align, but to push with everything you've got while time is still on your side. Work like there's someone out there trying to beat you, because in truth there is. Someone out there is hungrier, quicker to act, more committed. The question is, will you match that level or stay behind? You've got the ability, but that ability means nothing without urgency. You need to light a fire under your goals. You need to act with pressure even when no one is watching. That's how success is built. Quiet urgency in the background, day after day. Your dream life doesn't come to you slowly. It comes to those who chase it quickly. Not recklessly, but intentionally. Fast and focused. Clear and committed. You stop wasting your morning. You stop losing hours to pointless scrolling. You stop saying, I'll start tomorrow. You erase all the slow habits. You build the rhythm of someone who's serious. Someone who treats every day like an opportunity to close the gap between where they are and where they want to be. You've got to earn the future. You say you want. And you earn it by taking ownership of your time, by working faster, by acting sooner, by pushing harder. Not someday, but now. Right now. The days don't pause for your excuses. The calendar keeps moving. And you need to move with it. If you want change, act like it's urgent. Don't give your goals the leftovers of your energy. Give them the best of your discipline. And give it now. Once you start moving with urgency, things begin to shift. You stop tolerating small distractions. You stop chasing comfort. You begin building a different life. One where you decide your pace. One where progress compounds quickly. And the faster you act, the more momentum you gain. That's how transformation works. Not in leaps but in consistent speed. Urgency becomes your tool. You wake up driven. You go to bed satisfied. Not because everything is done, but because you moved with purpose. You can't afford to be casual with your time. Every minute matters. Every delay costs you something. And every step taken in urgency brings you closer to the life you want. The opportunity is now. The window is open. The only question is, will you rise and move or stay and watch it pass? The future belongs to those who act like it's already here. Who move like their success is on the line every single day. That's the energy you need. That's the fire you build. And when you start working from that place, you won't recognize your life a year from now. Number 6. Commit fully to one goal and ignore all others. If you want real results, you must narrow your life down to one clear mission. You cannot keep splitting your energy in 5 different directions and expect to go far in any of them. Spreading yourself thin doesn't multiply your efforts. It weakens them. You've got to decide what matters most and then give it your full commitment. When you choose one goal and give it everything you have, you unlock a level of power that scattered effort never gives you. You become more focused. You start moving with direction instead of drifting from one thing to the next hoping something sticks. Distraction is the enemy of achievement, not because it stops you cold, but because it dilutes your strength. If you chase multiple paths at the same time, you don't go deep enough to win at any of them. You must decide what you really want, then shut the door on everything else. This is not about giving up dreams. It's about doing one thing right before adding another. People often fail not because their goal was too hard, but because they didn't commit long enough to see it through. They jumped ship too early. They got tempted by new ideas. They kept starting but rarely finishing. That cycle keeps you stuck. Success comes when you commit with everything in you, when you no longer entertain backup plans, when you stop wondering if maybe there's a better option. Your energy becomes a weapon when it's fully aimed in one direction. That's when things shift. That's when results accelerate. The clearer your goal, the stronger your commitment needs to be. You've got to live like nothing else matters until that one thing is done. Not because other things aren't important, but because splitting your focus guarantees average effort. Every time you say yes to one goal, you're saying no to countless distractions. That's how serious progress works. You protect your time. You protect your focus. You protect your energy, and you only use it where it counts. This kind of clarity isn't easy, but it's necessary. You'll be tempted. You'll hear other voices pulling you toward new things. You'll feel the urge to dabble. But if your goal truly matters, you'll resist that pull. You'll remind yourself why you started and what you're fighting for. You don't need to be talented in 10 things. You need to be relentless in one. That's the secret. That's what separates those who talk about success from those who actually build it. Discipline is built through the ability to focus when everything else screams for your attention. You win when you can block out the noise. When you can stay committed even when progress feels slow. When others switch directions every week, you stay steady. You keep building. You keep showing up. That consistency compounds. Your brain can only process so much at once. If you overload it with competing priorities, it shuts down. But when you commit to one target, your actions become clearer. You start seeing patterns. You develop better routines. You gain traction. This isn't theory. It's psychology. Human beings perform best when they're not scattered. You were made to concentrate. That's how you grow. That's how you improve. That's how you win. But only if you stop chasing too many outcomes at once. This habit of full commitment teaches you how to be reliable with yourself. You stop breaking promises to your future. You stop changing plans every time things feel uncomfortable. You learn to be steady. You learn to push through. You become the kind of person who sees things through to the finish. That kind of self-trust is powerful. It transforms how you show up, not just in one area of life, but everywhere. When you pick a goal and go all in, you stop negotiating with excuses. You stop looking for shortcuts. You understand the path might be long, but you're ready for it. That mental decision where you cut off all other paths is what keeps you going when motivation fades. It gives you something deeper. Conviction keeps you moving even when no one claps for you, even when results take time, even when doubt tries to whisper in your ear. You don't need constant variety. You need consistent progress. And that comes from giving your full energy to one direction. You'll be amazed at how much you grow when you aren't constantly starting over. When your mind is not bouncing from idea to idea. When every day builds on the last. When each step has a purpose. That kind of momentum comes from focused effort. Not from chasing excitement, but from building discipline. You must treat your goal like it's the only thing that matters for now. That doesn't mean ignoring your responsibilities. It means you structure your day to serve your priority. You give your best energy to what counts most. That is how winners operate. They don't dabble, they don't half commit, they go all the way in. If you want to do what few people do, you must be willing to do what few people are willing to do. Say no to distractions and yes to discipline. Don't let your attention get pulled in 5 directions. Don't try to be good at everything. Decide what will move your life forward, and lock in on it. Build your day around it. Say no to anything that doesn't serve it. When people try to pull you off course, stand firm. You are not here to please everyone. You are here to finish what you started. Your life will expand the moment you narrow your focus. The fewer things you try to do at once, the more powerful you become at the thing that matters most. This isn't about being rigid. It's about being strategic. You're not closing doors forever. You're just closing them for now. Because trying to do everything at once is the fastest path to doing none of it well. Choose your goal wisely. Then guard it fiercely. Give it your time. Give it your energy. Give it your full attention. That's when your skills sharpen. That's when you notice growth. That's when the gap starts to close between where you are and where you want to be. You don't need more goals. You need more focus. The world will tempt you with options. But every time you pick one and ignore the rest, you give yourself a chance to go deeper, to learn faster, to build mastery, to create results. That's how success is built. Not from jumping around, but from staying committed long enough to see things come together. That kind of discipline, that kind of tunnel vision, changes your life from average to exceptional. Not overnight, but definitely over time. Number 7. Build the discipline to execute no matter what. There will always be a reason not to do it. You're tired, you're overwhelmed, the timing isn't perfect, the circumstances aren't favorable. The energy isn't there, but none of that matters when you decide that your future is more important than your excuses. Discipline isn't about doing things when they're easy. It's about doing them especially when they're not. It's the mindset that says this will get done regardless of how I feel. It's not driven by mood, motivation, or convenience. It's built from the decision to follow through, again and again, until following through becomes who you are. To build the discipline to execute no matter what, you first have to get real about your patterns. You must notice how often you delay, how frequently you let distractions win, and how easily you justify staying in your comfort zone. Then you make a commitment to break that pattern. That commitment must be stronger than your temptations, stronger than your distractions, stronger than your habits of quitting halfway. And once that commitment is made, you stop waiting for the right conditions. You start creating them by showing up and doing the work relentlessly. People who execute regardless of circumstances are the ones who win. Not because they had the easiest path, but because they refused to fold when it got hard. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't ask how they felt about it. They just got to work. It's a practice, a muscle. And like any muscle, it gets stronger every time you use it. Every time you do the thing you said you'd do, especially when it's inconvenient, you carve deeper roots into your character. You stop being the person who talks about change and become the one who lives it. Most never reach the finish line, not because they don't have the potential, but because they don't follow through. They start things with excitement, but as soon as the excitement fades, they stop. They confuse motivation with commitment. Discipline doesn't care if the mood is gone. Discipline steps in when inspiration leaves. It's the bridge between desire and results. It's what transforms your goals into reality. It's the thing that separates temporary interest from long-term success. You don't need perfect circumstances to execute. You need a decision. A clear, firm, no matter what type of decision. That's where the real power comes from. Not in waiting for something external to push you forward, but in deciding that you will push yourself. And the more you do that, the less you rely on feeling ready. You become your own momentum. You become the one who shows up on the days when no one else would, because you've trained your mind not to negotiate with weakness. You can't keep stopping every time something is inconvenient. That's how you stay stuck. That's how months slip by without progress. That's how dreams become regrets. You have to stop letting your emotions decide your actions. You can acknowledge them without obeying them. You can feel tired and still work. You can be uncertain and still move forward. You can be frustrated and still take the next step. That's what it means to build discipline. You develop the capacity to take control of your actions regardless of how you feel. There's a version of you on the other side of consistent execution that is more focused, more capable, more confident. But you'll never meet that version by doing what's easy. You'll only reach that level by doing what's required, again and again, without delay, without compromise, without making excuses every time it gets uncomfortable. You don't build a new life by repeating the habits of the old one. You build it by showing up with consistency that doesn't waver. You can't build discipline in theory. You build it in action, by doing things you don't feel like doing, by waking up when you said you would, by sticking to your commitments even when no one is watching, by writing the page, running the mile, sending the email, finishing the task, especially on the days you least want to. That's the proving ground. That's where you become unshakable. And that's where real progress begins. Every time you do what you said you'd do, your self-respect grows. Every time you choose effort over excuses, your confidence strengthens. Every time you follow through when it's inconvenient, your momentum builds. That's how you build the discipline to execute. No matter what you do the work, whether you feel like it or not. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. It goes from being a struggle to being your standard. Look at where your time goes. Look at how often you pause, postpone, and procrastinate. Those are the leaks. Those are the areas where you lose momentum. Plug them with discipline. Cut off the delays. Eliminate the mental negotiation. Decide once and then act. That's what execution requires. Not a perfect plan. Not more time. Just action. Now, not later. If you're serious about growth, this becomes non-negotiable. You either train yourself to follow through, or you keep explaining why you didn't. Discipline is not about being harsh. It's about being clear. Clear on your goals. Clear on your standards. Clear on what matters most. That clarity becomes the compass that guides your actions. When others waste time chasing motivation, you become the person who creates results through repetition. You stop getting caught in the cycle of starting and stopping. You develop the power to keep moving forward, even through resistance, because you've practiced doing the hard thing without needing to feel like it. Don't wait to be in the mood. Don't wait for the perfect day. Don't wait for fear to disappear. Move. Execute. Act, because if you don't, the dream dies. And not because it wasn't possible, but because it wasn't pursued with consistency. Let that be the line you draw. Let that be the shift. From now on, the standard is different. You don't ask if it's convenient. You ask if it's necessary. You don't ask if you feel like it. You ask if it matters. And if it matters, you do it. Period. That's how leaders are built. That's how excellence is forged. Not in comfort, not in talk, in daily execution, in the hours when no one is watching and no one is clapping, in the decisions you make when it would be easier not to, in the reps you put in when quitting looks like a relief. You train yourself to follow through by following through, again and again, until it becomes second nature, until it becomes the way you operate, until your results speak louder than your reasons ever could. Number 8. Create a system that makes action automatic daily. The secret to success is not just in knowing what to do. It's in creating a system that makes doing it automatic. We all know that motivation is fleeting, and that willpower is limited. So how do you ensure that you stay on track every day, even when motivation wanes? The answer is simple. Build a system that drives your actions without needing constant effort to get started. A system takes the burden off your shoulders and turns your desired actions into habits. Once you build this system, it runs on its own. You don't need to push yourself every single day to make things happen, because the system does the heavy lifting for you. The best systems are the ones that automate your success. This means designing your day in such a way that taking action becomes an instinct, a default behavior that doesn't require thinking twice. Creating a system starts with understanding the importance of consistency. Consistency is the key to making progress every day, but it's also the hardest part for most people. Without a system, your actions are scattered. You might start strong, but without a plan or routine, your efforts become inconsistent. This inconsistency prevents you from reaching your full potential. However, when you create a system, you design a path where consistency is built into your daily routine. You reduce the need for motivation because the system simply works. Systems take advantage of routines. Think about your morning routine or the way you start your day. If you wake up at the same time, do the same activities in a structured order, you've already created a system for that part of your day. The key is to apply that structure to other areas of your life. By creating a routine that aligns with your goals, you make it easier to stay on track. The more you structure your day, the less energy you waste on decision-making, and the more focused you become on taking meaningful actions. For example, if your goal is to get healthier, you can create a system that includes daily exercise. Instead of hoping that you'll feel motivated to work out each day, you set a time each morning where it's simply non-negotiable. You prepare your gym clothes the night before, put your workout plan into your calendar, and remove every excuse that could prevent you from following through. Over time, this becomes a habit. You don't think about whether or not you feel like exercising. You just do it because your system makes it automatic. The same principle applies to your professional goals. Let's say you want to write a book or launch a business. Instead of relying on bursts of motivation to do the work, you build a system that includes dedicated time each day for these tasks. You structure your calendar so that every morning or afternoon you dedicate time to work on your project. The key is to remove any ambiguity. Don't leave it up to chance whether or not you'll work on your goal each day. Make it a part of your routine, just like brushing your teeth. The more you reinforce this action, the more automatic it becomes. You need to make sure your system is simple enough to follow without overwhelming yourself. One of the reasons people fail at consistency is because they try to do too much at once. If you want to write a book, don't try to write 5,000 words a day right away. Start with 500 words. If your goal is to work out, don't set yourself up to exercise for an hour every day from the start. Begin with 20 minutes and build up gradually. Your system should be designed to be sustainable. It should be something that you can stick with day after day without burning out or feeling overwhelmed. When you make your system too complex, it becomes too easy to abandon. To make a system truly effective, it must be aligned with your environment. The environment you surround yourself with plays a significant role in your ability to execute. If you want to be more productive, create a workspace that eliminates distractions. If you want to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with the right foods. Your environment should be set up in a way that supports the system you're trying to create. For example, if you want to exercise in the morning, lay out your workout clothes the night before so they're ready to go. If your goal is to read more, keep books within arm's reach so you can pick them up anytime. Your environment should be a reflection of the system you've built, making the right actions easy and the wrong ones harder to do. A system doesn't just help you take action, it also keeps you accountable. The most successful systems have checkpoints built into them. These checkpoints allow you to measure your progress and see how well you're sticking to your plan. Whether it's a journal where you track your actions or a calendar where you check off tasks, accountability keeps you on track. It shows you how far you've come and where you need to adjust. Accountability is a crucial piece of any system because it provides feedback. Without it, it's too easy to let things slide and fall back into old habits. Another important element of a successful system is flexibility. While routines and structure are essential, life happens. There will be days when things don't go as planned. The key is to not let one missed day derail your entire system. Systems need to be adaptable. When you miss a day, don't beat yourself up. Just get back on track the next day. Your system should allow for this kind of flexibility. It's about creating long-term progress, not perfection. Over time, the more you execute within your system, the more ingrained the actions become. Your system begins to run automatically, and soon you'll realize that taking action doesn't feel like a chore. It feels natural. The key is to start small and build gradually, reinforcing the behaviors until they become second nature. The beauty of a system is that it works for you, not against you. It eliminates the need for constant decision-making, making it easier to stay consistent and keep moving forward. Systems are what make success sustainable. They turn the daily grind into something you don't have to think twice about. They give you the consistency that leads to long-term results. And best of all, once your system is in place, the only thing left to do is follow it. You stop wondering what you should do next, and you simply do what you've set out to do. That's the power of creating a system. It doesn't require motivation, doesn't require willpower, and doesn't require constant decision-making. It simply requires you to trust the process and let the system work for you. Number 9, track results every day and fix what is broken. To succeed in any area of life, it's critical that you track your progress and constantly adjust your approach. Success doesn't come by simply working hard every day. It comes from knowing where you're succeeding and where you're failing, and then fixing the things that are not working. Tracking results daily isn't optional. It's an essential habit that will elevate your performance and accelerate your growth. You see, without tracking, you're flying blind. You might be putting in the hours, but how do you know if those hours are getting you closer to your goal? How do you know if you're moving in the right direction? The simple truth is, you don't. That's why tracking is a game changer. Tracking your results every day is like having a feedback loop in real time. You're constantly gathering data on what's working and what's not, so you can adjust your strategy before you waste more time or resources on the wrong things. Imagine driving a car without a GPS or a speedometer. You'd be uncertain whether you're on track, and you'd have no way of knowing if you're going too fast or too slow. You might even end up going in circles. The same principle applies to your life and goals. If you're not tracking your results, you don't know where you're going or if you're moving in the right direction. When you track, you're able to see the small wins that add up over time. Often when we're working on a big goal, it can feel like we're not making much progress. But if you take the time to track your results, you'll begin to see that progress is happening, even if it's slow. These small wins keep you motivated and inspired to keep going. If you can look back at your day, week, or month and see a pattern of improvement, it becomes much easier to stay committed to the process. You begin to realize that every action you take is moving you forward, even if it's only by a small margin. That's how momentum is built, through consistent, tracked actions that compound over time. Another reason tracking is important is that it forces you to be honest with yourself. You can't hide from your numbers. You can't hide from your results. The truth is right in front of you. If you're not making the progress you want, tracking exposes that. It's easy to make excuses or justify why things aren't going as planned, but the numbers won't lie. This accountability forces you to confront the areas where you need improvement. You can't run from the truth when you track your results, and that's a good thing. It holds you to a higher standard and pushes you to become better every day. However, tracking isn't just about recognizing where you're failing, it's also about fixing what's broken. If something's not working, tracking helps you identify the exact problem. Maybe your strategy isn't effective, or maybe you're not putting in enough effort, or maybe you've misunderstood the process. Tracking the results gives you the clarity you need to adjust quickly and intelligently. The key to success isn't just about working hard, it's about working smart. When you track, you can pinpoint what needs to be changed, fixed, or improved. Once you identify the problem, you can make adjustments that will lead to better outcomes. For example, if you're trying to get in shape and you've been following a workout routine but you're not seeing the results you expected, tracking can reveal where the breakdown is happening. Maybe you're not working out enough, or maybe your diet isn't aligned with your fitness goals. By tracking your daily progress, whether it's your weight, body measurements, or the number of reps you're doing, you can quickly identify what needs to change. Once you pinpoint the issue, you can make the necessary changes to get back on track. Tracking results doesn't just give you data, it gives you clarity, and clarity is what enables you to make the right decisions to move forward. The process of tracking and fixing is continuous. Success isn't a one-time event, it's a series of small incremental improvements over time. When you track daily, you're giving yourself the opportunity to correct mistakes in real time. If you wait too long to track your results, it becomes much harder to pinpoint what went wrong. Tracking daily allows you to make course corrections immediately, ensuring that you don't waste precious time and energy. This continuous cycle of tracking and fixing leads to constant improvement. It's how high performers stay at the top of their game, and how you can achieve extraordinary results. Let's take another example. Imagine you're working on building your career. Every day you track the tasks you've completed, the meetings you've attended, and the new skills you've acquired. Maybe you notice that you're falling short in networking. Maybe you're spending too much time in meetings that aren't moving you forward. Tracking these results allows you to spot inefficiencies and make quick changes. You might decide to spend more time connecting with influential people in your industry, or reevaluate how you spend your time. Tracking results daily helps you see your actions in black and white, making it easier to spot areas where you can improve and take action to fix them. One of the greatest benefits of tracking results daily is the ability to recognize patterns. When you track your progress over time, you begin to see trends in your behavior. You might notice that you're more productive on certain days of the week, or that you're more focused after a certain activity. These patterns give you valuable insights into how you work best and help you structure your days more effectively. For example, if you notice that you consistently complete more work when you tackle your hardest task first, you can design your day to take advantage of this insight. By tracking results, you're not just gathering data, You're learning how to optimize your approach for maximum success. If you want to achieve your goals faster, you have to develop the habit of tracking your progress and fixing what's broken. This is where most people fall short. They don't have a system for evaluating their progress, and as a result, they don't adjust when things aren't working. You can't expect to reach your full potential if you're not evaluating your efforts on a regular basis. Whether you're working toward personal, professional, or financial goals, tracking your progress every day and making adjustments ensures that you stay on course. It doesn't matter how much effort you're putting in, if that effort isn't aligned with your desired results. Tracking gives you the clarity to adjust and course correct before it's too late. Remember, success is a journey, not a destination. It's about making constant improvements every day. The daily act of tracking your results, identifying what's working, and fixing what's not is what leads to sustained growth and eventual success. The more consistently you track and adjust, the more progress you'll make. You're giving yourself the tools to not just work harder but to work smarter. Tracking is the key that allows you to maximize your potential and make sure you're always moving forward. It's an essential habit for anyone who wants to achieve greatness, and it's something you can start today. Number 10. Make self-discipline the first rule of your life. If there is one force that separates those who succeed from those who settle, it is self-discipline. The ability to follow through with your decisions, especially when it's hard, is the real difference maker. It is not about how talented you are or how many chances you get. It's about whether or not you can make yourself do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Most people spend their lives reacting to their emotions, waiting to feel right before they act. But if you're waiting for the perfect time or the right feeling, you're surrendering control. Self-discipline puts you in charge. It gives you back your time, your direction, and your future. When you make self-discipline the first rule of your life, you stop relying on external motivation. You build a foundation that doesn't depend on mood, circumstance, or convenience. You wake up and you act. You follow your plan not because it's easy, but because you've trained yourself to do what matters most first. This mindset changes how you approach every part of your day. It affects your work, your health, your goals, your relationships. It teaches you to show up not just when you're excited, but when you're exhausted, bored, frustrated, or uncertain. That's when it really counts. Think about the things you want most: more focus, stronger habits, better results. None of these things happen automatically. They come from deliberate choices repeated over and over. Discipline is what lets you follow those choices consistently. It silences the voice in your head that says, "Do it later." It drowns out the noise of distraction and the lies of procrastination. It tells you that nothing changes until you do, that no one is going to come do it for you. And that means you have to own your time and your actions completely. You don't build a disciplined life overnight. You start with a commitment. You make the decision to take ownership of yourself, your schedule, your attitude, and your future. Then you reinforce that decision every day with small, specific actions. Wake up when you said you would. Stick to your plan even when you're tired. Say no to shortcuts. Show up with effort, not excuses. When you do this day after day, you start to shift your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who needs to feel motivated to act. You become someone who acts, no matter what. Discipline is not punishment. It's not something that drains your energy. It gives you structure. It frees your mind from constant decision-making. It clears the path so you can keep moving without stopping to question everything. When you live by discipline, you don't waste time battling yourself. You already know what to do, and you just do it. That clarity gives you momentum. That momentum gives you confidence, and confidence gives you power. Every result you want depends on your ability to stay consistent, but consistency doesn't come from motivation. It comes from discipline. You'll never feel like doing the hard thing all the time. That's normal. What matters is whether or not you've trained yourself to do it anyway. Whether or not you've decided that your long-term vision matters more than your temporary mood. That's what separates the ones who finish from the ones who quit. You might say discipline is hard. That's true. But living without it is harder. Living with regret, missed goals, unfinished work, wasted time. That's a much heavier burden. Discipline may demand effort now, but it saves you from pain later. It gives you the satisfaction of knowing you gave your best even when it wasn't easy. It gives you the quiet pride of showing up when no one was watching and no one was clapping. That's the kind of strength that lasts. That's the kind of strength that changes lives. You won't always get it perfect. You will mess up. You'll have days where you fall short. That doesn't make you a failure. What matters is how quickly you get back up, how fast you reset and recommit. Discipline isn't about being flawless. It's about being determined, about having a backbone, not just a wish. You learn to stand tall even when it's uncomfortable, even when everyone else is looking for a way out. You stay in the fight because you've made a vow to yourself, and you don't break it. When you live with discipline, you stop drifting. You stop wondering what your life could be and start creating it. You begin to feel powerful in the areas that once felt chaotic. You start finishing what you start. You stop running from responsibility. You look in the mirror and know that you can trust the person you see. That's the reward of self-discipline. It's not the applause. It's not the praise. It's the inner peace that comes from knowing you've done what needed to be done. Start with small promises. Keep them. Then raise the bar. Keep it again. Do that long enough, and discipline becomes who you are, not something you do. It becomes the standard by which you operate. It becomes the guardrail that keeps you from sliding back into average. Most people never reach their potential because they choose comfort over commitment. Don't be most people. Be the one who leads themselves. Be the one who shows up with intention, not just interest. Build that muscle every single day. Discipline is the tool that lets you say yes to what matters and no to what doesn't. It gives you the clarity to cut out distractions and the strength to follow through when the feeling is gone. If you want results that last, you need habits that don't rely on feelings. You need a system that holds you accountable. You need a reason bigger than your excuses. Self-discipline gives you all of that. It gives you structure in a world full of noise. It gives you direction when others are lost in their impulses. It keeps you grounded when things get hard and everything around you starts to shake. The most successful people in the world are not those who always feel inspired. They are the ones who do the work anyway. They know that every step matters. Every repetition counts. They don't wait to feel like it. They train themselves to follow through because their future is too important to leave to chance. If you want to rise above average, make discipline the first rule you live by, not the second or third. The first. Make it non-negotiable. Build your life on it. Let it guide your mornings, your choices, your focus, and your effort. When you live like that, results will follow. Not by accident, but by design.